Hello, students. We're here with day three of your activity that you need to do for today. Um, Obviously, we'll reference this here in a second, but the first thing you need to do is open your daily blogs. Okay. And if you haven't done that yet, make sure you read these directions. Okay. And so for August 14th, you're going to open your daily blogs and you're going to answer the following question for number one. Okay, so you're going to write down, and you may have a good idea, you may have a bad idea, but you're going to write down the answer to these two prompts here, and then sit tight for the next direction. So take a second and do that. Pause the video, get something written down for that. Remember, you get points for each daily blog that you do, so you want to take some time to do that. Okay, so once you have that daily blog done, I went through and I read a bunch of you guys' responses on your questionnaires. And the first question on the backside was, what do you think economics is? And your answers probably fell somewhere into here. We see a lot of things about money. We talk about a lot of things about life and some things like that. Well, the definition of economics is a little bit more complicated, okay, and is actually a lot more broad. So it's not only about money. It's not only necessarily about life and saving money and those types of things. It's way more broad. And so what we're going to try to do today is we're going to try to define economics. And so your definition of economics is included right here. Okay, it's a little bit long-winded, obviously. All right. Now, what I have done for you is I have broken it down into a smaller portions of the assignment. Okay. So you're going to want to open this defining economics activity, and you can see that over the down the length of the paper, I have it broken down into 7 sections. Okay. So your job first, okay, is you want to try to, um, you know, think about what each individual section means. Okay. So what I would do is if you have a digital copy, then pick a text color and just do something that is going to be different from your notes. If you can print out a hard copy, just draw a line down the side here. Those of you that have been at school the last 2 days, you know that you've already drawn a line, okay? And you want to write down whether it's examples of for what's first a social science. You can also write down what it means to be a social scientist. And if you're still unclear on what you want to do, you can break down social science separate. So I think all of us know, what it means to be social. Okay, what it means to be social? Well, that's humans interacting, right? So we can write that down. Again, there's no wrong answer here. You're just trying to pick your own brain. Then let's look at the second half of it. So let's look at science. Well, what do scientists do? Well, they study things and they also run experiments. I'm gonna write that in there. Again, there's no right or wrong answer. And then I'll even add to it. Some of you might know some examples of social sciences or sciences that study humans interacting, sociology, psychology. Maybe you could throw. Uh, and maybe you could throw anthropology in there too. So take about 3 or 4 minutes and try to fill something in for each of the rest of the sections. Again, it can be examples, it can be what it means. Okay, just do the best that you can. About 2 or 3 minutes. Don't take much longer than that. Okay, once you have that done, we're going to fill in some notes here. So as we kind of go, you can type in your notes, you can write in your notes. It's kind of up to you what you want to do. If you are just typing them in, probably the best way to do it is to just push an enter, change your color, and then fill in what I show you to write in on these slides. Okay, so again, the goal is to kind of break this down on what economists do and some of the things that they look at. So we've already talked kind of extensively about the social science. So we're going to study people's behavior. And we're going to look at how people interact with each other. Okay, so some other examples of that are psychology and sociology, as far as some like disciplines. Okay, we're going to look at how society makes choices. Okay, and so we're looking at who makes decisions. So, like in the United States, who makes the laws? Well, elected officials would be an example. And we can also look at why decisions are made. Okay, And from there, what we've got to realize is that decisions have consequences. All righty. So, for example, if we are going to tax gasoline, okay, let's just say that we're trying to make a green energy tax or whatever to try to um, eliminate some of the greenhouse gases. And let's just say the idea is to, hey, we're going to raise the price of gasoline by taxing it. That is a fair idea, but we've also got to know that there's a consequence on the back end of it. If we tax gasoline too much, and now I have to spend all my money on gasoline, am I going to be able to go out to dinner and be able to create a job for a waiter or waitress, or buy anything else from? How much money is that going to take out of my pocket and the rest of the economy? So realizing that there's these consequences, we're going to call them trade-offs eventually. We got to know that people make decisions based on these consequences. And consequences can be good or bad, right? There can be rewards and there can also be obviously punishments. We are also going to look at, again, tying this together, is we've got to figure out how to use, employs a fancy way of saying use, our limited resources. And again, this is why we have to make choices. Our time, very limited, right? Those of you that come to school and have a job and play a sport or some other extracurricular activity, you understand how valuable your time is. Most of us also realize how valuable and limited our money is, right? Where we've got to make decisions on what to spend our money on, right? Um, your labor resources are also important. Some of us are good, on language arts type things. Some of us are good problem solvers with math type things. We've got to figure out what we're skillful at, and how we're going to utilize those resources, not only for ourselves, but how do we create a system that allows people to maximize those resources as well as the natural resources of the things that we get out of the ground. Okay. And so, again, our example is, if I'm a farmer, what am I going to plant that is as efficient as possible? There's a reason why we don't see pineapples growing in Elkhart, Indiana, right? Farmers are using their land as efficiently as possible to make them as much money in as fast of time using the best natural resources that they can utilize. We kind of got into this. Our resources have alternative uses. We can use it for different things. Again, a farmer can use his field to grow any number of crops. And again, our time, we can use it in any number of ways. Okay, so this one's kind of obvious. We're not going to spend too much time on that. But in the United States, to kind of say, okay, how do we decide if let's say I cut down a tree, how am I going to decide where that tree gets sold to? Well, am I going to sell it to a lumber company that builds houses? Am I going to sell it to a pencil company that makes pencils? Or am I going to sell it to a paper company that makes paper? Well, your answer should be, hopefully you're thinking like, well, if I cut down a tree, how am I going to decide to get rid of it? Well, you should be thinking, I'm going to sell it to the person that gives me the most money, right? I'm trying to make as much money out of my time cutting down the tree and my resource cutting down the tree as possible. Okay, and so that's in the United States how we decide that thing. Okay. Obviously, we're trying to produce goods and services. Our economy is trying to produce goods and services. We've mentioned this word efficiency, trying to do as much as possible with as little time, and little resources. But understand that in the United States, we're trying to produce goods and services to achieve a maximum satisfaction. Now, I used to say a maximum profit. Okay. Well, the difference is that now this profit can probably be interpreted in a couple different ways. Is money important? Absolutely. Okay. But there's also other value that we can get out of doing certain things, right? Nurses get value out of saving people's lives. Same with doctors. Now they can make a little bit more money than nurses, but again, there's a value to doing certain things, different rewards than just money. Okay, so maximum satisfaction. Sometimes people are satisfied by money, so that would be included in there too, if that is how you were to think. We got a plan for now, and we got a plan for the future. And again, there's a reason why we talk about conservation of the rainforest, so to speak. If we cut down the rainforest, somebody could make a whole lot of money, but would that be good for the future? Another example of, if you've ever watched the TV show Deadliest Catch, these guys catch crab, and they are allowed to catch a certain amount. And the reason is because they want to make money today. And if they caught every crab, they'd make a whole lot of more money today, but they want to make money over the long period of time. So they have to allow those crab to breed. We limit how much they can catch so we can have crab every year, not just one really crazy year where everybody makes tons of money. Okay, so we plan for today, but we also have the future in mind. And then the last word, consumption, is pretty simple. That's using something so no other person can also use it, right? So when we consume our time, you come to school, well, you can't go back and say, well, school was no good today, so now I want to go back and get sleep instead. No, you've got to make that plan um, at a different time period. So that word consumption means that we use stuff. All right. Those are your notes today. I know I went by fast. I kind of mentioned in the classroom setting that I'm going to try to respect your time and go through things pretty quickly rather than slowly because you can pause it, write stuff down, and then listen as you kind of go through. So trying to respect your time in terms of those of you that can move a little bit faster. If I'm going super fast, by all means pause the video, write down what you need to write down, and then do it that way. Um, Here's your second daily blog for the day. This is what you're responsible for answering onto that daily blog sheet. Okay, keep going on these. Like I said, you get points for them. Eventually, you will be rewarded with a pretty solid score. Okay, in terms of if you do every single one of them. Okay, so and that's not a daily thing. That's like a semester thing. So anyway, we'll be in touch about that. I encourage you, if you need help with anything, you obviously email me. That's the fastest way to get a hold of me. I check that stuff. Okay, and hopefully we can figure out a way to keep this stuff efficient and learn at the same time. So have a great weekend. Hopefully you get this knocked out. You can enjoy what you're doing. Stay ready for what we're going to have on Monday for those of you that are Tuesday, Thursday, and you virtual guys. And then Monday, obviously, those of you coming to school will be in touch on what's going on. Okay, we'll see you soon.